The Sports Crunch Live. Rock100DIZ.com. The hits, the classics. Rene, I've already got more frequent flyer miles than Paul Hollywood. Ingoglia.
I got a free one coming up pretty soon.
You got a free one already?
One more flight.
Also got Paul, I am back because now there's no free barbecue Hollywood.
Yeah, Paul's on vacation for a week.
Yeah, he takes a day off because he wanted to go to a barbecue.
It was a Labor Day, and I did say I could make the show, but you said you didn't need me.
Okay. And then, of course, we got Cassino from Cassino and Company in the morning down the hall at oldschool101.com, our black college sports reporter. Yep. Cassino, holla at me.
What's going on?
Okay, now that everybody's hollered and checked in, 9 after the hour, let's talk some sports, shall we? Week number 1 in the NFL, and what a week. What a freaking week. I saw some games that just blew me away, and then I saw some games that had no business being played. I mean, the Dolphins and Atlanta. I know I'm going to make some people mad on Facebook, but I don't care.
I didn't see that. What happened? Miami just laying egg in that game or what?
Well,
the fish were just garbage.
I had called this in the when we were doing our preseason, forecast that the Dolphins would not have a good year, and it looks like my prediction's going to come true.
I thought they were going to be good. Did you see any of that, Cassino, or no?
Yeah, I sat at the sports bar at the Ale House and was disappointed. The offensive coordinator, Dan Henning, he has to do a more creative job. I'm sorry, you just can't get it done by throwing a 2-yard screen for nothing. They spent $150 on Jake Grove, Justin Smiley, the other guard that's in, and you got to open holes. You got to be nasty and open holes.
Dan Henning was my coach. I played for him in '97. He was the Bills' offensive coordinator. One thing I can tell you about those old-timers, they don't deviate much from what's in their brain and how they want to call offenses. Did they do any Wildcat yesterday at all?
They did some Wildcat, and they put Pat White in there, and he's got a cannon for an arm.
Didn't work? I mean, how'd it go?
He overthrew Ginn by 15 yards.
I was telling someone today, I believe it really takes 4 games, the first 4 games in the NFL season's so long. First 4 games to really see where a team's at. Because like you said, Cap, there was a lot of games out there. Like everyone thinks the Cowboys are unstoppable right now. I just don't think Tampa's a good defense, and you can't evaluate them.
The Cowboys only played the Buccaneers for crying out loud. That's all they only played the Buccaneers. Just be quiet.
But Paulie was at that game, so he can speak to it. What do you think, Paul?
It came down to 3 big plays, and the Buccaneers hung with them in the first half. The crucial thing that happened, the field goal kicker had 1 field goal block, and then he missed one he should have had. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see this.
And this was Tampa's kicker?
Yeah,
That's the new guy because they cut Matt Bryant to keep him.
Well, he may have thin ice. But anyway, and before the half, they didn't manage the clock very well, and they gave the goal back to Dallas, and then Dallas got that quick score before half, and that changed the whole complexion of the game. So I think that if you take those 3 plays away, I think the game would have been a lot closer. Tampa had a total of 450 yards of offense. Leftwich had, I think, 276 yards passing. What do you call it? Had Cadillac at 97 yards rushing
and a touchdown.
So the Cadillac did work.
Yeah, the Cadillac looked good. And who else was? There was another key player that was Derek Ward. Derek Ward. He had a great game.
So
too.
Offense really wasn't a problem. But the thing I heard was that they could not. And I didn't see the game. Obviously, I was in transit traveling. The thing I heard was they couldn't get a rush on Romo at all.
No.
And they were going man-to-man on the receivers, and they couldn't cover them.
Well, it came down to 3 big plays. 3 big plays that were in TDs, and that was the difference of the game.
Patrick Creighton had a big yard, big 67-yard touchdown
I know. I
run.
sat him in fantasy. I didn't play him like an idiot. So what you're saying, Paul, is you don't think Tampa's that bad yet?
No, Tampa's going to win, I think, 6 games.
See, and that's the thing I was saying.
Hold it. You're saying the Bucs are only going to get 6, Butchie's going to whoop your behind.
No, he knows it.
But see, I think it takes 4 games to really get a feel here. There's so much going on.
You're right.
You're right.
But I had to throw something out there.
The Bucs have a killer schedule.
Now we got to go right into the biggest thing in a week. First of all, Adrian Peterson is sick. I don't think he's human. That Nike commercial where he looks like an alien, I think that's true. Number 1. And number 2, if Brett Favre does just what he did in that game, which is all they want him to do, they're going to be a hard team to beat. Look,
can you tell me? But hold on. You can't tell me that Brett Favre is just going to be a clock manager.
He knows his role is to lead the team and not make mistakes. And if he 130, 140 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks, and Adrian Peterson goes off like this, you're not going to beat them. You know why? Their defense is really good, and people don't give their defense enough credit. The Vikings, that is.
So you're saying the purple people eaters are reborn again?
Oh, absolutely. But, I mean, did you see that run Peterson had on the highlight films? That's called a man stiff arm. That's
a man amongst boys.
It's like, excuse me, little boy. I mean, he threw that defensive back like he was a Pop Warner kid. I mean, that's sickening.
I'll just chime in as I don't think the Browns are a very good team either, so I wouldn't count that.
So you're kind of like with the Bucks and the Cowboys. You're saying that the Brownies are,
Browns aren't very good,
Okay.
so let's see what
he's more of a threat. Adrian Peterson is more of a threat. Having AP, that's the reason why he came back. He doesn't have to throw the ball, 40, 50 times a game and depend on his own.
And I don't think they'll ever call the plays to call them that. But now, I think which now feeds to Minnesota's advantage is Urlacher's out for the year for the Bears. Did you see that?
How in the world? I mean,
the third quarter.
And
Fractured
also,
his wrist?
Jay Cutler looked terrible.
Yeah, I
throwing
mean,
4 INTs last night.
Cutler
Very
looked
bad.
horrible. I mean, it looked like everyone was amazed today, just a dislocation or out. But look, in the medical stat, I mean, obviously it was a major dislocation, and he's out for the year. And they're looking to sign Derek Brooks. They were talking to Derek Brooks.
I think they are going to get him because he knows
From
the
Tampa.
system and everything. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen.
So, I mean, all things look full steam ahead.
Well, I
for
originally
the
picked the
Vikings.
Bears to win that division, but right now I think that ain't going to happen. But Green Bay looked good, though. You can't take it away from Green Bay. Green Bay looked pretty good.
Well, here's something of continuity. The Detroit Lions picked up where they left off last year.
But they scored.
but they scored 27 points. I
But
mean,
they gave
come
up
on.
45,
Offensively,
though.
they scored 17 points because
Yeah.
they had a fumble return for a touchdown. So
And let me tell you, Stafford, you're going to learn. Let's remember, Aikman ended up being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he got thrown to the wolves, and he was horrible his first year. So it's going to be a building process for Stafford. So we'll see what happens.
that is 18 losses in a row for the Detroit
Yeah.
Lions.
But
And what's the record is 26?
You got
Yes.
me.
Yeah,
That's
it's by the
26
Buccaneers,
was the
by the
Bucks.
Buccaneers,
Okay, so
yes.
18, 19, 20, 22,
You know,
24,
but you know what
can
saved them?
they possibly lose 9 straight?
But you know what saved them from getting that? They beat. I did my research earlier today. They beat Kansas City in 2007, December 23rd. If they didn't win that game, the last game that they
That was the last
won,
one.
yes, the last game that they won was they beat Detroit. Detroit beat Denver 44-7. Remember when they started off so well? When they started off and they ended the season 6-10.
So at least it was an ass whooping they gave someone.
Yeah,
I think
that's
you know,
and they beat Chicago the week before. So that's the last time they won back-to-back games, which is back in the fall of 2007.
I think St. Louis might actually be worse than Detroit. St. Louis.
St.
really
Louis
looked
is
bad.
garbage.
Yeah, I mean,
I
they
mean,
didn't even-
28-0.
They look
Yeah.
really bad.
28
You know who gets them next week?
The Redskins.
Yeah,
Oh my
so
God,
that's just what the Redskins ordered.
Wow.
Yeah, tune-up.
Hey,
game.
another big thing yesterday. What do you guys think? McNabb, broken ribs, going to be out a few weeks. The Eagles-
Hold on. Let me get on the phone. Let me
you
get on the
gotta call?
phone.
You gotta
Is it
I'm
a
gonna
few
call
weeks?
somebody.
I thought it was
Watch
just-
this.
I think
Watch
it's
this.
a
Let me get
couple
on the
weeks. I'm
phone.
not sure though.
I'm gonna get on the phone, and I'm going to try to call the commissioner of the NFL. What's the number for the commissioner?
Roger Goodell.
1-800 don't screw with me.
Yes.
Or you'll be
No,
suspended.
Commissioner, we need some help. Could you please reenact,
Speed dial
reinstate?
4.
Michael
Speed dial
Vick.
4.
Yeah, Michael Vick. Thank you very much.
Let's ask the producer. How long's McNabb out? Do you know? Can you get that up? So they're probably just going to miss a game. It looks
Well,
like
they
maybe
can
just
give
going to
him a
miss a
flak
game.
jacket.
Yeah.
And I think
They
they
give him a
have
flat
an
check.
easy opponent next week. So who do they have?
Who? Philadelphia?
Philly.
Philadelphia doesn't have an easy opponent next week. They're playing New Orleans. It's going to be
New
all
Orleans,
out.
yeah.
I mean,
Nolans.
45 points
In Philadelphia.
In Philadelphia,
Yeah, but
that's
New
going to be a
Orleans-
barn burner.
Well, New Orleans doesn't have a great defense. They have awesome offense.
So what? So you?
So I mean,
They're going to have to score tit
yes,
for tat.
Yes.
Okay. 888-860-0157. Put you in touch with us here on the Sports Crunch, or shoot us an email at request@rock100diz.com. We'll be more than glad to delete it, and we've got plenty of sports to talk about right here on the Sports Crunch